Hello, and welcome to a brief demonstration of the Trinium MC3 app. MC3 is the app that is tied to the new TMS system for Bawaso called Trinium. The app should be on your tablet, but can also be downloaded on a personal device through the Play Store. Just keep in mind the application does utilize data if you choose to access on a personal device like a smartphone. MC3 is an app that captures updates like dates, times, weights, etc., and uploads that information into the Trinium system. It allows you to scan and send in paperwork that can be viewed immediately by dispatch. This allows us to provide customers with real-time and accurate data, but this is only as good as the effort and time you put into making this application work. When opening the app, you'll be at the login screen. There are 4 important fields to note on the login screen. The first field is the company ID, which is always going to be BOAS0560. It's important to enter a 0 and an O into the correct fields. Putting a 0 as an O could cause you a login issue. The next is the environment. The environment needs to be set to live. So it needs to be set to live. In this demonstration, though, I'm going to switch it over to test, just so I don't mess with any live production orders. Next is your driver ID. This should be your driver number. And the last field is going to be the password, which is going to be the last 4 digits of your social. In the case of my test example, the password is just test. After that, you can hit the done button, which should bring you into the app. When first logging in, you will be prompted with this notification. This notification will pop up if a trip is currently not active. It's just asking you if you would like to activate a trip or not. I'm going to select no and start out with just explaining the app in general. Okay, so this is called the home page for the application. At the top of the application, we have what is called the header. And the header displays a total of 6 fields. The first field is going to be the driver name. In this case, it is John Doe. Next, we have a couple of important expiration dates. So we have the CDL expiration and the medical expiration, followed by the GPS. The GPS shows, it will show on as tracking your location. This plays a role in geofencing, which is a prompt that occurs when you trigger a defined GPS spot for a plant or location. You can tell a geofence location as they show up in the system as a color green. The next line is the unsent updates and events. Typically, this will show 0 out of 0, but if you run into areas that have no cell connection or internet, the updates will stay on the tablet until you reach an area with data or cell connection. The last line is going to be the last data update. This just notifies you of the last update between MC3 and Trinium, the Trinium system and dispatch. This is an indicator that something is wrong if you do not see like a recent update time. If your last update was several days ago or several hours ago, that's usually a key indicator that something is wrong with the application. A quick fix in some situations may be to just restart the application and see if it updates when you log back in. In the middle portion of the screen, we have the trip buttons. Clicking these buttons is how we're going to update our trips, accept trips, and all that within Trinium. So the first button is active trip, which currently has nothing assigned to it in the active trip button. This will display your current trip you are on in the system. So later we'll see how this button works through the demo. The next field below that is assigned trips. You'll see that it currently shows 0 right now. So this button is when dispatch pre-assigns you to a move. At this point, these trips are just waiting for you to accept or acknowledge that you will do the move. The next one below that, next button is accepted trips. And all trips that you've accepted or acknowledged will be sitting on this button here, kind of just waiting for you to start and activate the trip. Next button below that is called self-assign a trip, which most of you might not even see this as an option. This option is more utilized for specific scenarios when you are going to pick up a tank but may not necessarily know the work order number associated with it. So pretty much this option allows us to provide a tank number that we can pull up through the Trinium app, and what it'll do is it'll link you with that work order number and pretty much dispatch you on that. So in reference to this is mostly used for Lubrizol type moves in Houston, when we may know a tank number but may not necessarily know like a work order number. Below that is the trip history. Trip history is a button that shows all past moves completed. It allows you to review previously completed work and scan documents. Below that is the request logs, and this is usually mainly for IT to diagnose issues with the tablets. This is not related to any DOT or electronic logs, purely information about the tablet and its use. And the last button is the sign out. It is important to sign out at the end of completing all your dispatches. That way the app is not running in the background and causing any data issues. This also stops the logs on the tablet, so these do not pile up or cause performance issues. When you get into the tablet, if you notice your log is in the or the hundreds or the thousands, that means you probably haven't signed out in a while. It is important to note that if you are having issues, it is best to stay signed in and bring your tablet to the office so it can be reviewed. That way they can go back and check those logs. We can take some snapshots to see what type of errors you are receiving. So with all that being said, let's walk through the steps for completing an order in MC3's app.